ప్రభు మళ్ళీ మీకు డిస్టర్బ్ అయిద్దేమో, చిన్న క్లాస్ ఉంది ఒకటి, ఏం కదా? అంతేనా? యాక్చువల్లీ ఇప్పుడు అది ఖాళీ అయింది, ఏది స్టడీ హాల్, ప్రభు వెళ్ళిపోయారు కదా, సో మళ్ళీ దాంట్లోకి వెళ్ళాలి. Hello Shikarani, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Hi, sir.
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Good, sir. Please tell me.
Yeah, just give me a second. Have you gone through the yesterday session? Like, have you, I think you attended the session, but
No. Actually, yesterday I was trying to connect when you asked, but I was driving at that time.
okay.
So when I got your message, I connected, but I think on my phone the permission is not there to connect the microphones. I had to change the permission. That was taking long time.
Oh, okay, no problem. But at least you listen the session, right?
Yeah. I listened the session. Yes.
Yeah. So actually, yesterday's recording was unavailable, so that's why for reconfirmation I have
No,
asked
no,
you.
I listened the session yesterday. That was
Oh,
okay.
okay, okay. So fine. So today I will share my screen.
Yes.
So actually, in the yesterday's session, we discussed about uh, how to send a post request, and where I
Hmm.
demonstrated you one webhook site, webhook URL, which we use for testing purposes.
Yes.
So actually, we have one more course going on. So if you are interested, I'll show you.
That is for the PCB, right?
Yeah, for the PCB. So it's actually a little bit advanced course where we'll be teaching how to do automation using Python. So
Hmm.
earlier, like in ECEDL, like let's say if you want to do something, you need to do it manually. But here in
Yeah.
KiCad, we will be having something called, it is having one property called scripting. So with the help of scripting
Hmm.
functionality, where we'll be writing some Python program, as you can see, this is just a demonstration program. So where we'll be writing
Okay.
some Python program, and if you run this, if you execute this Python program, it will be doing automation. Let's say you want to place
Hmm.
100 resistors in the PCB. Okay, so doing
Hmm.
it manually takes a lot of time. So here what we'll be
Yeah.
training is we'll be introducing something called scripting property with the help of this
Hmm.
PCB new library, through which you can just by executing the program with one tap you can place all 100 resistors.
We can place it like we like for placement requires you to organize, right? Here you don't need that.
You can provide the positioning as well, like
Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay.
the coordinates where you want those.
Hmm.
Let's say if you want to arrange the resistors in a triangular fashion, or else let's say if you want
Hmm.
to arrange the resistors in something like a special, let's say a star symbol. So you can arrange
Hmm.
those resistors in the same way. Just as you see, if you are able to execute Python program, if Python is able to access PCB, then you can literally do
Yes.
amazing things because Python is having so much of capabilities. So you
Yeah.
can literally do amazing things with by integrating with Python. So that's the actual current course going on. So where yesterday's we discussed about PCB new library scripting in KiCad using
Hmm.
Python, how to place images into PCB editor with Python, and let's say you're having so many number of components in your PCB, and you want to count the number
Hmm.
of components. Okay, so just you will be writing simple Python script, and if you just execute that program, it will automatically tell you how many SMD components are there, how many through hole components are there. Everything will be the entire PCB is analyzed by Python.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
Yes,
actually
got it.
today, tomorrow there is one more KiCad session. So as per the schedule, there is no KiCad class, but tomorrow we will be taking one more class, I will
Hmm.
be telling, where I will be teaching you. So you know about file extension for PCB, right, in KiCad, which will be having something like KiCad underscore PCB.
No, I don't know. A KiCad I have not seen yet. I
Yeah.
have not opened also. I'll
So
have to check
actually,
it
in
out.
KiCad there will be different different files we will be having, like a
Hmm.
schematic file, PCB file. In case of
Yes.
a
Yes.
schematic file, it would be SCH. For
Hmm.
PCB, it will be underscore PCB. So
Hmm.
in tomorrow's session, I'll be telling you something like something which is called as S expression. There is something called S expression. So with this
Hmm.
S expression, if this is actually based on Lisp language. There is something called Lisp.
Lisp, I know.
Yeah, Lisp.
I mean, I don't know how to use it, but yeah, I'm familiar with it a
Yeah.
little bit.
So with the help of this Lisp language, what we'll be doing is, so instead of using KiCad user interface for designing the PCB, so basically you will be reconstructing this KiCad underscore PCB document from scratch on yourself by using Notepad. Is that clear?
Yeah. I did a small thing only. We can use the JSON light to basically uh, VS Code is there, right? So if I want to work with the ESP in the VS Code, then we use the JSON
Yeah.
file to basically, yeah, to do the
Let
animation within the VS Code.
let me show you
So
one
it is
example.
something similar.
Okay, and let me go to G drive. In G drive, KiCad folder. So for example, let's take some project. Okay. Uh,
Hmm.
generated board. So actually, this is a PCB board. Okay, as you can
Hmm.
see in the type, it is showing KiCad board. 10.0 is the KiCad latest version that we are using. So
Okay, okay.
this is generated by KiCad. Let's say you are in PCB editor, right? If you are in
Hmm.
PCB editor, you will be placing the components and doing all the stuff, right? Layout, design,
Hmm.
everything. So when you are doing modifications, automatically it will be storing that entire modification, entire your uh, things related to your PCB using the Lisp language. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So when you just open this file with KiCad, you don't see any such kind of program. It will directly rendered as a layout. But if you
Hmm.
open this in Notepad, you will see something. I'm just opening in Notepad. You will be seeing some text. Okay. See.
Yeah, okay, okay.
So now
Yes.
what we are training is like not only just how to design a PCB with KiCad, but rather how to reconstruct all these things on yourself from scratch. So if you want a PCB, you just no need to open KiCad. Directly go to Notepad and type all these things. You can make a PCB.
Hmm.
So that is a different approach. So this is actually a little bit, you might think that it is time consuming, but it would be really interesting for to learn.
Yeah.
So that's what we are doing, and we here you can find some couple of Python scripts, right? So if you execute these Python scripts, then I'll show you.
Hmm.
If you execute these Python scripts, so it will be returning. I'll show you in practical. There would be this KiCad command prompt. So it is not the usual command prompt that we'll be using. So by default, you will
Hmm.
be having another command prompt. It comes with your system.
Yeah.
So this is
Yes.
not that particular thing. So here I'm going to that particular folder. Let me copy the file folder path. And python space count.py. See, automatically now it is showing that in my PCB, 0 SMD components and through hole components
Hmm.
are 3. And it also
Hmm.
provided a list of different components which are there on my PCB.
Hmm.
So like this, uh, now you can integrate your PCB with Python. That is the
Hmm.
interesting thing that we'll be
Yeah.
teaching in this particular course. So in online, if you opt in for KiCad course, you will be finding how to design PC. Again, they will explain the user interface. No much difference between ECEDA course. Maybe most of the sessions would be very similar because again they
Hmm.
need to teach what is the schematic, how to place symbols,
Hmm.
all this stuff again. But additionally, here in KiCad, we can place something called we can assign custom footprints, and we can load
Hmm.
external 3D models. So these features might be absent in ECEDA. So some advanced options
Hmm.
are there, like we'll be having some calculator tools and so many. Earlier we discussed about track width deviation, right? So you can use.
Yes.
There is no need to use any kind of external calculator to calculate the track width. You can directly see here is a calculator tool. I'm going to calculator tools. You directly can calculate the track width based on your current and other parameters. See if I
Hmm.
go to calculator tools, so you can find so many different kinds of tools available. All are
Hmm.
integrated within only one application.
Hmm. Very interesting, actually.
Yeah, now you can see. I mean calculator tool here, calculator tools here under the division like power, current, and isolation. Here you can find track width. Here you can pass the parameters
Yes.
current, temperature, conductor length, and other thing. It will automatically directly it recommends you what should be your width of your track. See again it is showing the same formula that I explained you in ECEDA. I is equal to
Yes. Yes.
k into
Yes.
delta t to the power of 0.44. Here I told a to the power of 0.725. He again split area
Yeah.
into two terms,
Yes.
width
Yes.
into height. So that is the
Yeah.
importance of the formula we discussed in that session. And see so many kinds of tools, how to use these tools while making. Actually, KiCad is regarded as one of the professional grade tool.
Mm.
So that's why all these calculator tools are there in KiCad, which are absent in ECED. See so many tools. Here you can, based on the color codes, you can choose resistors, tolerance, and galvanic corrosion table. Here you can calculate, uh, regulator and resistor. This
Mm.
is resistor calculator. There are so many tools available, calculator tools. We'll be having so many here. See, this is plugin and content manager. We can run some third party plugins as well.
Mm.
So these third party plugins helps us uh, to make our work easy. See, so many third party things, board to PDF, so many things. All these are plugins. For example, if you install board to PDF, so directly there will be an option under extensions. There will be an option called board to PDF. When you click on that, automatically the board entire the PCB board can be converted into a PDF.
Mm.
So like that, there are different tools which are making our things easy. So there would be some simulation, and moreover in KiCad we can perform spice simulation. So in spice simulation, we can run some transient analysis, DC analysis, AC analysis, and we'll be generating graphs. Even before we fabricate the PCB, we can, uh, you know, completely we can simulate it. Yeah, we can see the interactive graphs as well with the help of spice simulator. So in KiCad, we will be having a library, a dedicated library for simulation. We can
Mm.
find that if you just go to schematic editor and go to place option, there would be a special dedicated library to perform the simulations. If I just enter spice, see all these symbols which I am getting over here, all these symbols can
Mm.
be simulated. You can do DC analysis, you can do AC analysis, transient analysis, and you can also get some graphs as well. For that, we will be going to tools, and here there would be an option. Maybe, yeah, give me a second. There would be a run simulation option over here. Yeah, I think first we need to add, yeah, here you
Yeah.
can
We
see
need.
simulator. But however, right now I haven't added anything which can be simulated. Even though if you try to simulate, it will show you that the component which is having the reference R1 or R2 is not having a simulation model. It will return an error. I'm clicking on OK. So right now there is no tool to simulate. So if you add something like some component, for example, you can add something like op amps. I hope you know about op amps, right? Operational amplifiers.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So you can add op amps and you can try performing a simulation. So again, there are so many modes available like P-Spice, LT-Spice, and everything is having its a dedicated uh, speciality. H-Spice is usually used in IC designing, for planning, I mean to do some analysis with integrated circuits. So whereas P-Spice is used for PCB, for analysis of PCB design. So like that, everything is having its specific role. So we can take
Mhm.
help of these spice tools and we can perform lots of simulations, graphs, so many things we can do. Even you can simulate the output graphs of operational amplifier. So let's say there are few op amps which are actually considered as inverting amplifier.
Hmm.
So if you see the graphical analysis, then you will come to know how all these things do work. Yeah. So all these things we will be teaching in the present course, KaiCAD course. So coming back to our ESP32. So today we'll be discussing how to integrate with the Firebase.
Yes, sir.
So I'll just have a recap of yesterday's session and I will directly jump into today's session. So
Okay.
yesterday we have discussed how to we discussed about different conditions with different states which are written by Wi-Fi dot status function.
Hmm.
I hope you remember those, right?
Yeah, I was listening, but I was also driving, so I won't remember everything. But it's
Yeah,
okay.
it's
It
not
was like it
possible.
was not.
It's not possible to
It was.
remember even, but at least we need to have a basic overview.
Yeah, I have.
So
I had an idea when you were doing. It was not really like that. I don't know anything. It wasn't like that.
yeah.
So I understood that.
So yesterday we discussed about different statuses which are returned by Wi-Fi dot status function. Out of which we discussed around there are total 7 states. So idle
Hmm.
state, no SSID available, scan completed, Wi-Fi connected, connection failed, connection lost, and disconnected. Again we discussed what are the different possibilities which may lead to connection network dropout. So we
Hmm.
discussed that Wi-Fi dot status function will return WL connection lost. So or else integer value 5. So this happens when the network connection is dropped. So what are the different possibilities during which we face these network dropouts? We have discussed some couple of reasons,
Hmm.
uh, right? And when you are out of the range, or else we discussed about DHCP as well. I hope you remember that DHCP IP allocation. So dynamic host configuration protocol. We discussed about DHCP client, DHCP server, how it allocates an IP address to DHCP client. So when if this old IP address is revoked, if it is assigning a new IP address to the client, so during that time also we will face some network dropout.
Hmm.
And we discussed about when we try to reboot the router, or else if the internet is down for the router, then also we will get connection lost. And if too many devices are connected on the same router, then also we may sometimes face connection lost or network dropout. And so power issues. So already these things we discussed. And especially
Hmm.
one technical parameter we discussed, that if you are out of range, we discussed about RSSI parameter,
Hmm.
RSSI values. So received signal strength indicator, we discussed about this parameter. So if the
Hmm.
signal is in, if it is minus 30, minus 30 to minus 50, that means you are having excellent signal. So minus 50 to minus 60, good signal. Minus 60 to minus 70, fair enough. And
Hmm.
minus 70 to minus 80, it's a poor signal. So if it is less than minus 80, okay, if it is something like in between minus 80 to minus 90, so during this particular range we will experience some network dropouts. Of course there is a possibility to experience even in between minus 70 to minus 80, but
Hmm.
comparatively, if the received signal strength indicator, or else if the received signal strength indicator indicates a value something which is less than minus 80, okay, minus 80 to minus 90, then we will face network issues, network
Hmm.
dropouts. If it is less than or equal to minus 90, okay, if it is less than minus 90, then keeping network dropout aside, first it will not be able to connect to the Wi-Fi router itself.
Hmm.
So these are the different things we discussed yesterday. And coming back to the program, uh, yeah, so I have demonstrated you how to determine your local IP address. Already we discussed DHCP server allocates an IP address to all the connected devices. So whatever let's say if you connect your mobile to your to your router, and again your laptop to your router, so your Wi-Fi router will be allocating an IP address to each and every device which is connected with it. So this is part of DHCP IP address allocation. So this IP address helps the device, I mean the DHCP server and the client to communicate with each other through the IP stack or IP network. So using this Wi-Fi.local IP function, you can determine the IP address which is allocated by your router. So first we need to convert that IP into string. So for that we will be using .toString function. Then we can concat this particular thing with this particular string, and we can display the IP address. So these are the things we discussed yesterday, and we have sent some post request to webhook site URL. If you just go to webhook.site, this can be used for troubleshooting purposes. So this is the request that we sent yesterday. So here you can see hello from ESP32. So this is sent by ESP32 and it is received by webhook.site server. Okay.
Yes.
And so yesterday we discussed about headers as well. So what is the meaning of metadata, information about information, and we discussed that every header will be having some specific functionality, specific role. So I explained about one specific header which is related to XSS, which means cross-site scripting. So and I have also used an online tool where you can check the HTTP headers returned by the server. So yesterday I demonstrated you how I have shown you the different headers which are written by Google server. So yeah. So this is the content type header, like whatever the data that you are transmitting. Already we know that data can be transmitted over HTTP requests through various methods, like get method, post method. There are of course other methods as well, like put, delete. There are so many methods. Yeah. So whatever the data that you are transmitting, so first we need to define what is the type of the content that we are transmitting. So you have any idea about MIME types? It's not MIME, it's MIME. Any idea about MIME?
No. Yeah. Oh, this one I know. Well, I mean the MIME
types.
This one I know. This one I do not know.
Yeah, like every file extension will be having one MIME type, like text or HTML, image or PNG, application or JSON. Okay. So like that, there are so many. These are actually, you can find the entire list in there would be IANA, Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. They are responsible for allocating all these things. So there you can find the complete list of all MIME types. Yeah, this is the complete list of all MIME types. You can check out here. So
someone is on the door, sir. 1 second, I'll come.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here, this header whenever we are sending any header, we need to pass two things: name and the value, key value pair. Okay. So there are so many headers. You can find a complete list of HTTP headers as well. So here I'm passing content type. This is the key and this is the value. Since I'm transmitting just a plain text, you can pass text or plain. This is the MIME type. This MIME type actually belongs to .txt file extension, .text. So that means plain text. So if you are passing, but mostly whenever we are dealing with transmitting data to Firebase, we usually go with application or JSON. Okay. So this application or JSON format is preferred for all kinds of APIs. So there are so many APIs, like, usually any API endpoint is designed in such a way that to accept JSON data. and it also returns the JSON data only. You need to again parse the JSON data which is written by the server, and again you need to obtain the information. Let's say you are taking some weather API. So first you need to send some data, maybe some your API key or else access token, and it will, once it accepts the JSON response, it will take your API key and just validates if you are having some credits, or they will also charge something like the number of usages. So for that, yeah, they will be taking your API key, and then they will return the weather forecast information in the JSON response. Again you need to parse that JSON response, and again you need to print that data. So like that. So usually every API endpoint, which we actually call it as RESTful API. So RESTful API. So every RESTful API endpoint is designed in such a way that to accept JSON response usually. So it doesn't mean that it doesn't accept other forms, but it mostly JSON response it accepts. So similarly here we can, instead of text or plain, so I'm changing it to application or JSON. So one more thing is like now we will be discussing about how to integrate with Firebase. So yesterday we have already created a Firebase, right? Firebase project. So for that, first you need to go to console.firebase.google.com. Okay, once if you just go to console Firebase, this is the home screen. Here you can create a new project. Click on create a new Firebase project, and you can create a new project. So for example, I'm just giving the name my ESP32 hyphen su, which means a suchana. So I'm just clicking on continue, and again click on continue. So here you can choose an account for analytics. So basically it will be tracking the number of some analysis, like whenever it receives any request, it will track some information. It could be the client browser, the user agent, these kind of stuff. So let's say already we have some demo account, Suchana demo, and you can go with that. Click on create project. It will create a new project. So once the project is created, again you need to create a new database. So for each and every database, there will be a database URL. Okay. So apart from this Firebase, you can use one more thing, that is Arduino Cloud. But if you ask me the question which is preferable among Arduino Cloud and Firebase, I will say Firebase is preferred. Because Arduino Cloud is having some restriction number of requests to be received. So you can visit this official website cloud.cc, click on get started for free. So they are also offering some paid plans. You can check out their paid plans. So maker, team, enterprise. So number of users, number of things, 3 months data retention. So that means whatever the data which is received, let's say if you are working on some IoT project, want to store some heartbeat related information, pulse rate, oxygen saturation, all this stuff. So if you are with the maker package, then they will retain your data for 3 months. So but it's better if you use cloud, if you use a Firebase, because there is no such restriction, right? Yeah, already the Firebase project is ready. So here you need to expand this thing and go to databases and storage. Click on real-time database, and here click on create database. And here you can choose the location, real-time database location. By default it is United States, US Central. Click on next. So there would be two different modes. One is logged mode and another one is test mode. So if you are in test mode, anyone can you just don't need to authenticate yourself. An anonymous person can also perform read write operations. So that is about test mode. So once you just go with test mode, usually for 30 days complete access will be provided for read write operation. So if you are in logged mode, then you need to first there would be something called as security rules. So by default other people will not be able to access your private data. So you need to go to the security rules, and there you need to modify the rules, like what application can perform read write operation, like when there is based on the host or the domain. If the request is received from particular domain, then you can accept the request, or you can prevent certain websites from sending the requests, discard them. So those things can be implemented in the logged mode. So as of now, I'm going with the test mode, because if you are in logged mode, again I need to tell you how these rules to be how we can draft these rules. So that's a completely different concept. So right now I'm going with the test mode. So database will be created shortly. So this is a database URL, myesp32 hyphen suchna hyphen default hyphen realtime database dot firebase io input output.com. So this is the database URL, and here is the rules section. Here you can modify the rules. Okay, and here you can track the usage. How many requests you are getting, and backup functionality is there, but it is not enabled by default. You need to upgrade to backup your data. And coming back to, yeah, I will also show you the user interface of Arduino Cloud. So here again in Arduino Cloud, by default they will provide you two free things. Okay, by default they provide you two free things. We will see about it again. So first you need to create an account, login. I'm just logging in with my account. Mm. Yeah, then you need to choose your username. So as you can see over here, you can create two things. Okay, so first I'm clicking on create new and click on thing. So here there will be a new device. So here you need to choose Arduino boards. So there are different ways through which we can send data to the cloud. Okay, Arduino cloud. We will discuss that again. So here you can also find, so for more information how to connect this Arduino cloud with the ESP32, you can find the entire information in the documentation. So now what I will be doing is go to integrations. Yeah, not integration. So actually here you can update, see, instead of manually connecting your Arduino or else ESP module to your laptop, you can directly upload certain programs without even connecting with your laptop, which we call it as OTA, over the air updates. Any idea about OTA?
No, sir, not right now.
Yeah, actually we just see, mostly what we'll be doing is we'll be connecting ESP32 to your laptop and you will be programming in Arduino IDE and we'll be uploading the program. So actually if some OTA library, if you already installed into ESP32, you can directly just over the air. That means you will be having through online you can directly upload the programs and sketches into your ESP32. So that is the one of the biggest advantage over the air. So OTS stands for over the. It allows uploading a new program to ESP32 using Wi-Fi instead of connecting the ESP32 to a computer via USB to do the update. It is extremely useful in situations where you don't have physical access to the module. This feature can be used to reprogram the device that are fixed on a roof or any other place where connecting cable is difficult. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll be having a separate session about how to perform over the air. Okay. So now first
Yes.
what we'll be doing is first we'll be connecting our ESP32 with the Firebase. Then if
Mm.
time permits, we'll also see how to connect our Arduino cloud with our ESP32. Or else we
Mm.
can again continue that in the next session. So I will be first what I will be doing is I'm just going to my Firebase and I will be copying this URL.
Mm.
Okay. So first I will show you how to send the data with the help of some online post request sender. Okay. Post request send online. You can find so many tools. So this is one of the famous tool. So here you need to type some data, say name, uh, and I'm just clicking on send.
Mm.
Yeah. So what I'll be doing is first I'll be going to Recubin where I can do some where I can send data. So actually here it is showing one error. What is that? Append.json to a request URI to use the REST API. So basically here you need to type something, let's say data.json, anything. So just you need to give some name. So whatever data that you are passing over here, this data will be stored under the hierarchy of data. Okay. So under this category, you just assume like this is the tree and all these are child. So whatever the
Mm.
data that you pass over here, like name, this name will become a child of this data, like
Mm.
that. So now I'm just again clicking on send option. See now it is showing something like
Yeah.
it is returning some ID.
Mm.
Okay, if this ID is returned, then it is a clear indication that the data has been successfully stored in the Firebase. So let's
Yes.
go back to the Firebase and check if data is visible or not. See, this is the main
Yes.
thing, data. So under data, you can find the name
Yes.
Shikarani.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so this is how you can store the information. So now
Mm.
what we need to do is like, so instead of sending a request with the help of Recubin, so how can we send that with the help of directly with from the ESP32? So there is one more thing like curl. I just don't know whether you know about curl or not. Using curl also you can send some data.
Mhm.
Let me check. So you in C programming also there will be a curl library. In curl library also you can send this data to Firebase. In Python also there curl library. Okay, I think. So I'm creating a new file curl.py. So now what we'll be doing is like we'll be taking the advantage of curl library and we'll be sending a post request to the Firebase. Okay. So first we need to import some libraries which are related to the curl library, and then we can send a request. So first I will be importing subprocess library. Okay. So there is one library called subprocess. Import subprocess, and then you need to import JSON, because I already told you that whatever the data that we are sending is in the form of JSON. Okay. And here I will be taking one variable Firebase underscore, or else a constant Firebase underscore URL is equal to, I'm pasting that URL over here, and let's say sensor.json. You want to store some sensor information. Sensors .json. You need to append this .json at the end of the URL, else you will get that particular error which we got recently. Okay. And then so now I will be taking one structure. So data, see this is the JSON information. So this is the actual data that I want to transmit to the Firebase. So let's say I want to transmit some information like device ESP32. Let's assume that you are having multiple devices. Then you can assign some device IDs to identify that from which device you are receiving the information. And then I will be taking something like temperature. Let's assume that you are having some temperature sensor connected with your ESP32. And so can just give me some random temperature.
32.
32. So I will be adding a floating value 32.4. You can send directly 32 as well. I'm just sending 32.4. And then status, you can send as much as information as possible. There are some restriction that we will check later. Yeah. So this is the data that I want to transmit to the Firebase. I want to store in the Firebase. Now what I will be doing is, so this is actually this particular thing we actually call it as a dictionary. So I hope you know dictionary. The dictionary is one kind of data type in Python.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So in dictionary you will be having key value pairs. This is actually by default it is not, despite it appears to be in the form of JSON response, but it is not actually considered as JSON. So it is a dictionary. Now what we need to do is we need to convert this dictionary into JSON data. So JSON underscore data is equal to JSON dot dump. Okay, JSON dot dump. Here you need to pass the data. So basically this dump function is defined in the JSON library, import JSON. So that's why I told you that we need to take help of JSON library, because we need to send the data in the form of JSON response, right? So you can send, if you want to send the data as a plain text, then it's fine. You just no need to use the JSON library. Directly you can send a string like hello from ESP32. But usually we need to send some data, like when it comes to Firebase, it accepts JSON data only. So that's why we need to encode the data into JSON. So I'm just adding a comment so that, so why we are using this dump function. So this is to convert Give me a second. So I hope today my audio is much more clear, right, than before.
Yes, yes, yes.
So actually I am using some microphone.
No, voice is clear.
Yeah. So actually I'm using some microphone today, a mic, external mic. So that's why it's more
With
clear.
mic, it gets better because there's a noise cancellation, right, in most of the mics.
Yeah. So convert dictionary into JSON data or else a JSON string. Okay. So now after converting the dictionary into JSON, what I will be doing is like there will be one curl command. Okay. So this thing you need to learn first, like how to send a curl command. So that thing you need to learn. So it's not possible to explain these commands right now. So command, so again here I'm just typing. See, this hyphen x, this is used to indicate the type of method that you are using, whether it's a get request or post request. So I'm
Hmm.
mentioning as the post request, and this hyphen x indicates that you are trying to add some header. Okay,
Hmm.
just like we did in embedded C program using dot add header function in Arduino program. Here you can
Hmm.
find that add header function, postman dot add header. So here similarly I'm adding content hyphen type is equal to application or JSON. So this application or JSON is the MIME type for JSON. And then see, actually you need to know these commands, like how these commands work. There would be, you need to understand this syntax.
Hmm.
So here you need to see hyphen d indicates data. Now here you need to
Hmm.
pass the data, JSON data. Okay, and at the last you need to pass the endpoint URL, Firebase URL. So this constructs the command, curl command. Curl hyphen x post hyphen h content type application or JSON hyphen d our actual data, and then Firebase URL, the endpoint server URL.
Hmm.
Okay, then what we need to do is result is equal to, first we need to take the help of subprocess library,
Hmm.
subprocess dot run. Okay, and here you need to pass the command, curl command, and then uh, if you want to capture the output, because Firebase will also send some output, right? If you want to
Hmm.
capture that output, you need to explicitly you need to define that capture underscore uh, output equal to true. If you don't
Hmm.
explicitly define over here, by default output is not captured, only the data will be sent to the Firebase and it will add into the database, but whatever the response which is written by Firebase is not captured. So
Hmm.
text is equal to true. So these are some additional attributes, additional parameters, and then finally we need to print the status.
Hmm.
Print status, again here result dot return code. So whenever you just run this subprocess, I mean whenever you run any command with the help of subprocess, so it will return some it will return some code. So you will
Hmm.
be printing that the code which is returned by the subprocess library, and then we need to print out the data, right? Print uh, response, and see, if you want to print multiple things, you can separate those strings with the help of comma in the print
Hmm.
function. Again, there is no need to do concatenation, directly you can separate with comma. So result dot standard output, std out. So if you don't pass capture output equal to true, you won't get this standard output.
Hmm.
So that's why you need to pass this capture output thing. So I will be saving this program and I will execute. First I need to copy the file path, copy path, don't copy the relative path. I'm going to cmd first, yeah, python space no such file or directory. Okay, Missing one required positional argument FP. Let me check. Oh, okay. Actually, it's a dumps. It's actually not dump. So it is actually dumps. I think that must be the issue. Let me recheck. Yeah, see. So again, I got the response. So I'm just going back to Firebase, and here you can find the information. See, just now we got sensors.
Yeah. Sensors. Yes.
Device ESP32
Yeah.
status okay. Temperature 32.4. Similarly, this kernel library is available in C language and almost all programming languages. You can send a request from Java program. You can send a request from PHP. So there are different possibilities through which you can transmit data. So now we'll come back to ESP32. Okay. So up to here everything is clear, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, this Firebase doesn't accept insecure requests. So what do you mean by an insecure HTTP request? Any idea?
No. No.
See, actually it doesn't accept requests from HTTP. Okay, almost whenever you try to establish a network connection with that particular Firebase server, you must make sure that the request is HTTPS. It never accepts insecure requests. So that's why we need to use Wi-Fi client secure. Okay, there would be something called Wi-Fi client secure. I will show you that. See here also he has declared the content type as JSON. Okay, so then after he has taken some JSON document through which he is transmitting some data. So for in order to use this JSON document, first we need to import the library Arduino JSON.h. If you see here in our program, we have transmitted just a plain text. So that's why we haven't taken any kind of Arduino JSON library. If you are transmitting JSON data, because you need to encrypt and parse the when data is received from the Firebase, again you need to uh, parse the JSON, right? So that's why we require Arduino JSON library. And actually, I think there are many clouds. Give me a second. There is one more thing like Thinger Studio or something is there. I don't know. Something with things about. Actually, I don't remember that exactly right now, but there is something. I think this one, the Thinger something is there. No? There are many alternatives, but however, if you just go through all these things, finally you end up with Firebase, because that is the best approach. There is no restrictions for you, right? Yeah. So we'll go back here and so now what I will be doing is I'll remove this thing and http client postman dot begin server URL http postman dot add header application or JSON. And now I'll be taking one string. See, actually here in Python I have not declared any kind of data types, right? See,
Hmm.
because here I just no need to declare any data types in Python. But if we again come back to our embedded C, I need to declare the data types. So the switching between programming languages, it's a little bit, you need to be very perfect in the syntax. Unless you are mastered in syntax, the basic syntax, you will get confused. So string payload equal to, here I will be taking some JSON data. For example, uh, see actually what is the actual data that we need to transmit. For example, so this is the format of JSON, right? Temperature, and again something like 25.6. Let's say I want to transmit this data. See, here you need to understand that. So if you want to declare any string, so strings
Hmm.
can be declared, the strings can be the characters can be within the double quotes. But if you take the JSON thing, in the JSON, the structure of the JSON itself, it is having double quotes for keys and values. Unless if you are transmitting an integer, if unless if the value that you are transmitting is a numerical value, could be floating point or other thing. So usually key value pairs, I mean key value pairs, they will be enclosed by the double quotes. So now you cannot directly again type double quote inside a double quote by default. You need to escape that double quotes. Okay.
Hmm.
So for example, first I will type with double quotes. So this is actually it returns an syntax error. So this is
Hmm.
not a valid thing. First you need to escape this double character, double quotes. To do that, you need to put some backspace just before the double quote, so that it will be not considered as part of the actual
Hmm.
syntax. So it will be considered as a text only. See, okay, and